Today's insight's about trust, support, knowing that you're being supported by your guides, by your angels, by your ascended masters, by all beings that are here to support us as we shift and as we develop through this period of transformation. Again, Saint Germain, the ascended master, the violet flame of transmutation and transformation. You've got loads of different masters that are supporting there. You've got Serapis Bay with Ascension, and it connects to like portals. It connects to like Egypt. It connects to like Luxor, which is very much around sort of like portals and shifts in consciousness, shifting dimensional shifts. It also connects to Metatron with sacred geometry. Um, Loads of sort of angelic, loads of sort of like spiritual and ascended masters are supporting us as we sort of move through this shifting period. But one of the biggest things is that we're talking about sort of like consciousness, and dimensions are around a different shift in consciousness. So obviously that's really important that we start to sort of connect into that and start to really start to link in with that. But it also links in with like the universal law of vibration, which is very much around vibrations are the frequencies of our reality and how we experience our reality. So it's very much around sort of how we use our energy and use our vibrations. Like this morning, I woke up and I had a few sort of worries on my mind, and I woke up and I had sort of like something made me wake up at 3 o'clock, and I was worried about it. It was something in relation to work, and it's like, when you wake up with that ping moment, that light bulb moment, and then I just like I was upset about it. I got a bit sort of like anxious about it. My wife tried to talk to me about it, and I wasn't sort of in the best state of mind when I just woke up about it. But then after that, I went I just sort of closed my eyes. I went through like a meditation, and then I felt like the energies came around me, and they really supported me through that moment. But it was also about sort of like how we as individuals, like our thoughts and our reality, our thoughts and our like affect our feelings, affect our emotions, and their energy, their vibrations, their frequencies, and they create the reality, and that relates then to our awareness at that moment, at that time. And I feel like it's really important in this moment. Like I had my own like individual lesson in that this morning, but I feel it's like a universal lesson for lots of us, and it's about how we start to apply it. A lot of the time the masters talk about being observers, like so you observe something so you can see like lessons or information or energy playing out, and sometimes it's about observing it and seeing about what's the learning, what's the teaching in that moment, and how can you step back and observe it. So there's been a lot of things going on with me sort of like on my own spiritual journey, and I believe this was probably the same for lots of different people at the moment. But I feel the like vibrations and frequencies are really important. But some of it was about sort of like how we're thinking about ourselves and how we treat and how we affect ourselves with our thoughts. We can be quite sort of like hard on ourselves at times, and hard on how we react about something. And I feel like the masters and the angels and the guides want us to realize actually how you're born of source, and how much you're loved, and how much you're sort of like valued and appreciated. And it's like I feel like the masters and the angels and the guides want you to realize that yourself, and be conscious of that yourself, and be very conscious about how you affect yourself with the things that you do, by how you act, how you behave, how you treat others. All of it has an impact. All of it's interrelated and interconnected. And I feel like the masters really want us to like realize about that. Like the things that were ringing in my head tonight today were like when I was going through that process. The words were like, "Do you know how loved you are? How appreciated and how valued you are?" And that was going through my head. And it was like, why? And the words were like, why are you talking to yourself like this? Why are you treating yourself like this? You don't treat other people like this. Why are you treating yourself like this? So I think it was a really important sort of lesson today. And I feel like that they're the kind of subtle sort of things that come through. And I feel the masters and the angels and the guides work in that very subtle way. There's like a voice, or an inner voice, or an intuition that goes through your head, and it talks clarity. It talks with clarity. It talks with wisdom. It talks with understanding, and it's very compassionate. It's very loving, and that's at you at your source. The capacity you've got for love is massive. This capacity you've got within your source and in your energy. And this is why everybody talks about going into the heart, and they talk about love in that way, because that's the only way we can understand it, in the frequency we're in the conscious level that we're in, and we use the word love because it's the universal thing that lots of people understand and lots of people can relate to, and that's why they use the word love. Although it's really source energy, and it's infinite sort of source energy, that is that, you know, when we're in that frequency where we're in harmony and we understand and we're open, this openness they keep talking about is really, really important. We need to be open to source. We need to be open to just be open, and not shut down and close down, because a lot of us shut down and close down. And this is what I feel the lesson was today. And like, I'm sharing this lesson for what I went through that was quite personal to me in my own head, and what was going on this morning. And I'm sharing it because I feel it's like, you know, I'm not saying you're going through that, but I know that we all sort of like, I believe that a lot of us can be quite hard on ourselves when something, you know, when something comes up, and the default thing is to, you know, really talk to yourself in quite a negative way. And it's about sort of like, you know, realizing, you know, that there's, you know, you need to be a bit more gentle with yourself. And also, when you're talking to yourself that way, you affect your energy and your energy field and your frequency. So it's like, I really feel like that was kind of like a lesson this morning, that I needed to wake up to that and realize that. um, and the thing is also, like, the masters and the angels talk about these lessons that, you know, that keep reoccurring in our lives. Well, they're reoccurring because we've not integrated them, we've not let go, we've not accepted them, or we've not changed something, we've not changed a pattern, and that's why it keeps coming up. So some of it can be like from this lifetime, some of it can be from past lifetimes. So it's very, very sort of it's very interesting that we need to start sort of like waking up and realizing that, and being much more conscious, but being a lot more conscious in the way that we're awakened and we're aware by how we treat ourselves and how we treat others. And this is where the universal law of vibration comes in again. But again, this would connect into Al Moira, who's the ascended master of the divine will, because the divine will connects to the divine intelligence, which is an understanding that we're all interconnected. But it also connects to the universal law of oneness, which is very much around that we're all spiritual beings, we're all born of the same source, we're all born of the same light. So that everything that we do has a cause and effect. You know, this again, the universal law of cause and effect. See, I keep being brought back to talking about the universal laws. So there's a teaching in that, but there's also an understanding of how the universal laws work and how they integrate. Because everything we do has a cause and effect. So you know, it could be the way we think, that, you know, is the cause, but the effect is how we feel about it. You know, how we feel within our own body. So we've caused it by, like, something's happened, it's affected us externally, and then we've internalized it, but the effect is by how we've responded to it. We feel lower, we feel heavy, we feel depressed, we feel upset. So it's got a cause and effect. So the universe is only playing out, by how we've responded to something. So I mean, again, this is very, very, all these kind of things are really, really important, that we start to understand that everything's frequency and vibration. But it's, the lesson and the message for today is to be gentle with yourself. Don't be so hard on yourself. And realize that, you know, you are loved. You are infinitely loved by all these beings, all these angels and these guides. That you are loved and you are appreciated and you're valued. So you need to value yourself and be awakened and more conscious about how you treat yourself, because, you know, you change your reality and your consciousness within that moment. And this is the part of the universal law of perpetual transmutation, that energy is always transforming and transmuting, so it's changing to different states and forms. But some of this comes down to how we're consciously, you know, perceiving things, and how we're reacting and to them. And that's a lesson definitely for me. I react far too much, so I hold my hands up. I can be a reactionary person. And it's gone in a second and it's over and done with, but it makes me feel very flat and very drained after it. So it's not it's a pattern that I need to sort of look at. So I'm just thinking today, the Ascended Master, I feel like just looking at patterns, looking at things that are going on. Be gentle with yourself, love yourself, know that you're appreciated, valued and loved. And that's the insight for today.